Hello and welcome back to the Shutterbug Club. I'm your host, Sue Shutterbug, and this episode is going to be coming out on December 31st. So it's almost 2025. That's crazy. But because of the new year, I'm feeling like talking about my goals and New Year's resolutions because I just analyzed and reflected on my last year and set a whole bunch of goals for 2025. So, we're going to talk about setting goals, how to set the best goals, and how to have a productive and amazing next year. So, before we get into that, let me just share some life updates with you, things I've been working on, and things I'm excited for. The first one is I have this super exciting photo shoot coming up actually tomorrow. It's for a phone case company, but I'm taking like retro vintage ski photos of this phone case. So I'm going to be going to Telluride, Colorado, which is about an hour and a half from where I live. And Telluride is beautiful. The mountains there are so pretty, and especially the ski resort that we're going to be going to, it's just breathtaking. So I'm super excited to go there. And I'm just going to be going up on the mountain and we're going to get some fun ski shoots. I actually snowboard instead of ski. So I learned how to ski basically as soon as I could walk. My family was big skiers, but a few years ago I taught myself how to snowboard. So I'm still not the best at it. So taking pictures while I'm snowboarding might be a little bit difficult, but I'm excited for it and I think it's going to be great. And yeah, we're just gonna have the models for the photo shoot are actually the ski instructors at the resort. So I feel like that makes it a little bit easier for me since they're already pros and they know what they're doing. I don't really have to worry about them, but we're gonna have like champagne and it's just gonna be so fun. Literally one of my dream photo shoots. So I can't wait for that. And then another thing I'm excited about is I am hosting my very first goal party. I've wanted to do a goal party with my friends where we all get together and talk about what we want to happen next year and pretty much just share our dreams and our goals. I love visualizing these things and just setting goals. I have always been a huge goal setter. So I've wanted to have one of these parties every single year for so long, but I'm never prepared for it. As soon as January comes, I am just like, that's when I think about it, and I don't even have any of the supplies that's gonna make the party fun. Like, I have wanted to get magazines to cut out cute pictures and create a vision board, but I've never done that. But this year, I actually found a cute magazine on TikTok, and it's specifically for making vision boards. So it just has a bunch of really cute quotes and pictures. So I got that, and then I'm gonna invite my friends over, and we're gonna have a vision board party. And I think I'm also gonna bring back this thing that I did a few years ago. I called it my memory jar, and it was basically like a mason jar. And throughout the year, I would just write down little things that happened to me. And these were usually really simple things like conversations I had with people. Maybe if I met a new friend at the supermarket or something like that, I would just write down cute little conversations and then fold them up and put them in this jar. And at the end of the year, I would read them. And this was really fun because it was often a lot of stuff that I had forgotten about, just really simple little things that made my day. Pretty much, I would say like the highlights of my days is what I would write in this jar. And so I would read those, and that was really fun. So I think I'm gonna bring that back this year. Yeah, I guess that's all of the updates I have for you guys. So let's get into setting goals. I was just going over the goals that I set for my business in 2024, and I think that I never really knew the exact definition of a goal. So I kind of always mush my goals and my to-do lists together because I feel like the goal usually needs to be something big. The goal is like the bigger picture, and then to-dos are almost also goals, but they're kind of like smaller goals or the steps that you're going to take in order to get to your big goal. And so as I was looking back on my goals from last year, Most of them were more like to-dos, like, they were literally things that I could get done in one day and not something that I would work on throughout the whole year. So I'm gonna read you some of my goals that I had, and I'm actually just gonna mush together goals from 2023 and 2024 because I set a lot of these goals around that time, but it took me pretty much almost 2 years to get these goals done, and they were really focused around just becoming a full-time photographer, being able to make money with what I'm doing and run a business, which is really cool because when I sat down to think about my goals for 2025, I realized that I had completed almost everything that I was working towards. I am now a full-time photographer. I This is my job. I'm making money at this. And so now I'm not really as focused on like the back end of my business. Now I'm focused on growth and I'm thinking about how, like, what direction I want to take my business in the future, what value I want to bring, and what I want to provide, what's going to make me different. So it was really fun to think about my goals in a new way and almost think bigger than I have before. Okay, so some of my goals from last year were to get my office space set up. And I'm so glad I completed that one because I'm sitting in my office right now and I love the way I decorated it. I printed off some of my photos and hung them on the wall behind me. And this really helps me to feel inspired. And then, of course, I put a lot of cute plants in there and candles. And I had a lot of fun setting up my office space. And I've noticed a difference in my productivity in having an office because before I had a specific place to work because I work from home, I would really lay in bed all day or on the couch and be so tempted to just watch movies all day while I work, and I wouldn't get as much done. But ever since I got an office space, it helps a lot to have to separate your work and your personal life because that can be really hard to do when you live from home. And my office is just a bedroom in my house. So I'm really thankful that I get to have a specific place to get my work done. My next goal is creating an email signature, which this is what I was saying about. That's more like a to do. Like I got that done in an hour probably. And then next is an LLC. I remember when I was writing this goal, it felt like such a big thing. I was like, I don't know how to even get started in making an LLC, but that was also super simple. And I actually just hired like a someone online and they take care of all of that stuff for me. So that also, I probably finished that in an hour or two. Okay, next is to keep track of taxes. And being organized with my money is definitely something I've struggled with. But this last year was the first year I finally created a separate bank account for my business since I also had an LLC. So I had my personal bank account and then my business bank account where I would only charge my business expenses through my business bank account. And I definitely still have a lot to learn about being financially organized and taxes, but I do feel proud of myself that I got that accomplished. Okay, updating my pricing guides. Again, that probably took me one day. Making a media kit, and this media kit was specifically to send out to brands who would reach out to me. And I'm so glad I got that done too because I sent it to quite a few brands that I worked with over this last year. Next is to create merch, like my own line of merch. And I actually did get this done, and the way it worked out was kind of cool. I was looking at printing shops trying to figure out where I wanted to get my sweatshirts printed because I really wanted to create sweatshirts with different like photography phrases and stuff on them. And literally while I was looking this up, I got an email from this little business called, well, I don't know if they're little, they're pretty big, but they run mostly on Etsy. They're called the Iron Horse, maybe Iron Horse Studio, and they just sell like cute sweatshirts. And they reached out to me and wanted to make a merch line for me. And so basically, I gave them some ideas of what I wanted to have on sweatshirts, and they designed it for me and they print it for me. And so I just share the link to their print shop and they take care of all of that for me. And I just earn a commission from it, which I don't know if that's better to do it that way or to set it up yourself through like a different print shop. and then make more money that way probably. I would assume you would make more money that way, but I'm happy because I just wanted to get some creative, cute sweatshirts out there, and I have 3 sweatshirts right now. I have one that says, "Step outside your comfort zone," and one that says, "Business girly," and then one that says, "In my year of growth." Because at the beginning of the year last year, I truly felt like that was gonna be a year where I grew a lot in my business, and it was. So I love my sweatshirts. I'll leave a link to those in the show notes if you want to check them out and support my business. I actually had my assistant, her name is Cassidy, her photography name is Crisp Clicks, and she is my behind the scenes girl. So she'll come with me to photo shoots and record behind the scenes. But over Christmas, she sent me a picture and she had asked for one of my sweatshirts on her Christmas wish list. And so it was really cute. She sent me a picture saying like she got what she wanted, and I just loved that. It was so cute. Okay, next is to host a styled shoot. I did host a pretty big like content day for photographers, and I had so much fun with this. The thing that I loved the most about hosting a content day is the amount of collaboration with local brands that I got. I had this one clothing boutique called the Station Cortez, and they literally gave me probably $2,000 worth of stuff to just use for this photo shoot and borrow, of course. I returned everything back and had to take good care of it and stuff because she still is selling it in her store. But just the amount of support and collaboration I got from this was incredible, and I had a lot of fun hosting that. Okay, next was to start a YouTube channel, which I did technically do this. I haven't been super active on YouTube because I mainly do photography and I haven't gotten super into the videography side, but I've been posting my podcast on YouTube, so that's part of starting my YouTube channel. Okay, and then launch a senior model team. I got that done. Hire a virtual assistant. I have hired a virtual assistant and I haven't outsourced too many stuff yet. I think that's going to be more of a focus in 2025. And then to redo my branding and website, I did get my branding redone. I hired a girl to do my branding for my business and she did incredible. And I have hired her now to do my website. So my website isn't completely finished, but I'll be launching that next year. And then my last is to start a podcast. And here we are now. So, a couple things that I had on my goals from 2024 that I did not complete are to create an online course because I really want to get more into education. So, I did move that over to my goal for 2025, but we'll talk a little bit more about that. And then my next one is to offer coaching calls for photographers, which I actually did take 2 coaching calls last year, but I never officially announced that that is something I'm offering. So I will work more on that next year. My next one is to make $200,000 in revenue, which I did not hit that goal. I think I almost hit 6 figures. I haven't completely gone over my finances for 2024, so I can't say exactly what I've made, but yeah, definitely did not come close to 200,000. And then my last one was to make at least 12 blog posts, which I don't think I wrote a single blog post in 2024. Maybe I wrote one, but yeah, I'll talk about that next in 2025. Okay, so now that we covered what happened in 2024, we're going to go over setting goals in 2025 for the next year. So, I just want to say that setting goals is really important because it will help to increase your productivity and help you avoid distractions. And it keeps you moving forward even through the challenging times because I've definitely struggled and wondered what to do next. But when you have clear goals, then you can go back and look at your goals and see your priorities. And it just helps you to keep moving forward. And it also holds you accountable, which is what I'm doing right now. I am holding myself accountable. So I highly recommend actually writing out your goals, putting it somewhere that you can refer back to it and hold yourself accountable. And another thing that I love to do to just be more productive is to have an accountability partner. And I don't have one right now, but I've done this in the past and I love it so much. I used to do this with my friend who lives in Kansas, and we would FaceTime. I think we did it maybe once a month or every 2 weeks or something like that. And every time we FaceTimed, we would have like 3 to 5 goals that we had set for each other or for ourselves, but holding each other accountable. So each time we talked on the phone again, we would ask about our goals and we would see if we completed our goals. And so this just makes it a lot easier to get things done when you have somebody who's basically rooting for you and on your team. So if you struggle with completing goals, try and find an accountability partner who you can create goals with. In 2025, I really want to structure my goals to avoid burnout, which I just recently learned that burnout actually comes from putting your energy into the wrong things. Because burnout is actually thought a lot of as doing too much, as just taking on too many tasks and overwhelming yourself, which this is true a little bit, but it's more focused on the type of tasks that you're putting your energy into. So if you focus on the right tasks, then you can avoid burnout. And so that's just another reason to create goals in 2025, is what I was trying to say. Because in 2024, I had a lot of burnout. I think I've had the worst burnout that I have ever experienced in my business in 2024. And I went through a lot of mood swings. So I would feel super productive. I would feel like I was on top of the world one minute, getting so much done. And then it was almost like I couldn't get out of bed for a whole week. Like I couldn't even force myself to look at my emails. And I think that a lot of those feelings came from having unhealthy habits. And so in 2025, I'm focusing on creating healthy habits. That's going to be my biggest priority, is to just focus on becoming 1% better every day, to just try and focus on each day individually instead of thinking so much about the big picture, because I think I overwhelmed myself a lot last year. And so I'm hoping if I can just focus on creating really tiny, healthy habits, that will help me to stay more consistent in my productivity and in my moods and motivation, because I don't want to get into those slumps next year. So let's see if we can avoid that. Also, in 2025, a big priority and value of mine is going to be focused on being a giver, providing value to others and lifting up others, and becoming more of like a leader and helping those around me become lifted up and being more a part of the community and just helping out my community. There's this quote that says, it's something like, I don't know if I'm quoting it exactly right, but it says, the success of your business depends on the value you create. And this is so important because it can be really difficult to forget about your why, like why you're having a business, why you're doing these things. And for me, a big part of my why is because of the connections that I make, because of the way I'm able to impact people and just make their life better. After reflecting on the last year, what I realized is I got most of my happiness from helping others and from being with others and a part of the community. I took a lot of trips for photography retreats like Club Content and Photo Camp. And during these retreats, I was just around a bunch of people and I made connections. And that is partly what brought me so much joy last year and made me feel like I was so successful, was because of the connections I made and the networking that I did. So that's why in 2025, I'm deciding to focus more on just meeting people and getting out there. And this can be a little bit uncomfortable for me because I am shy and a little bit introverted. And so I don't always like the first step of getting out there and being social. But once I do it, I feel so good. Okay, so now that we've covered that, let's go over my goals for 2025. I'm going to first share with you my goals for my business, and then I'm going to share some personal goals for you. And I've tried to structure it in a way that talks about the big picture goals and then little smaller goals that are more like steps to achieve the bigger goal. So, my first goal for 2025 is to scale and streamline my business. And what I mean by this is to focus on outsourcing the little tasks like hiring my virtual assistant so that I can focus on growing my business. And the way I'm going to grow my business is by networking and reaching new people. So, some smaller goals to achieve the bigger goal is outsource tasks. Some tasks I want to outsource are going to be writing blog posts, managing Pinterest. I love Instagram and TikTok, so I don't think I would ever hire somebody to manage those, but I think I will outsource Pinterest and maybe YouTube this next year. And then I also want to outsource my podcast editing because I don't love the editing process of my podcast and I feel like I don't have the time for that. So that's another little thing I want to outsource and probably some other things that I'm still thinking about. Next is to diversify my revenue streams. This is also going to help me to grow and streamline my business by having different ways that I make income because last year it was primarily through booking photo shoots with clients, but I want to make income through education, through educating other photographers, booking photo shoots, online resources, so just getting different revenue streams. And then my next goal for streamlining my business is to make $200,000. And that is the same goal as last year, but I think that I can hit it this year, especially by diversifying my revenue streams. And I don't think that the money is really that important. Like, I'm not upset that I didn't make $200,000 because the money is not what it's really about for me. That's just more of a way to measure it. But when you do make more money, that gives you more money to invest into your business and grow your business and create more art and help others around you. So that's why I want to make more money, but I don't want to put my value in the money itself. Okay, my second goal is to shift to an educator and content creator. So I want to get more into the content creator space instead of photographer space because right now, like I said, I make most of my money through photography, but I really want to shift more to just becoming a content creator and working with more brands. So, some littler steps that I'm going to take to reach that goal is to launch a mentorship program for photographers. This is something I've wanted to do for a long time, and I'm really excited that I'm finally going to make it happen this year because for me, I have taken a lot of mentorship programs and they've truly changed my life. And the help that I get from these is incredible. I talked about working with Alexander the Great in my first episode, and I just really want to help somebody and impact somebody's life the way others have done for me. So I'm really excited to hopefully be able to work with somebody more closely in like a one on one setting and teach them and help them to grow their business. My next one is to sell 10 products to help other photographers, such as email templates, presets, courses, guides, just creating some online products. Okay, my next is to host workshops. I really want to host more like content days and workshops in 2025 to really just build community and again educate others. Okay, next is to post one podcast episode weekly and I put that in my goals because I really need to hold myself accountable. That was one thing that held me back from starting this podcast was the fear that I wouldn't be consistent with it, but I'm going to hold myself to this and I'm going to post one episode a week. And last, I have build and engage with a community. And I want to do this online by creating an online community, but also just around my community where I live. I really want to focus on meeting the photographers around me and also working with the businesses and just lifting up the local businesses around me. Okay, number 3 is to expand my social media presence and brand partnerships. And I debated putting this one in here because I don't like to talk about followers on social media a lot because I don't want that to be where my value lies. But when you're talking about becoming a content creator and working with brands, this is something that brands look at a lot. So I did include this in here as just a way to kind of measure my success. Wait, not measure my success, that's not what I meant to say, because if I don't gain new followers on social media, I'm not gonna feel unsuccessful, but measure my progress, because I don't want my feeling of success to come from my followers, but more of my feeling of progress. Because by putting the energy and making videos and content for social media, a result of that is going to be getting more engagement and gaining more followers. So it's more to measure my progress. So, my little goals for that, I want to reach 100,000 followers on Instagram in 2025 and 500,000 on TikTok. And I want to post 3 pieces of content weekly, both on Instagram and TikTok. And I want to work with 10 brands over 2025. That 10 seems kind of small, but I think that's a good goal for me. Some brands who I would love to work with, I would love to work with, first of all, Adobe and Sony again, because I worked with them in the past, but I would just love to work with them again because I use those brands all the time and they really resonate with my business and my audience. But also some other ones I would love to work with Aftershoot because I use Aftershoot to cull my images. Let's see, what are some other ones? Okay, I can't think of any right now. I'll have to think on that a little bit more and figure out which brand specifically I want to work with, but I would love like some clothing brands. Last year I actually had the Toolbox send me a dress for one of my self-portraits and that was a lot of fun. That wasn't exactly a paid thing, but they just sent me a dress which I loved. So I borrowed the dress for the photos and that was really cool. I wouldn't mind doing some more of that in 2025. Maybe working with Olipop. I feel like that's kind of random, but I have been obsessed with their drinks lately. I drink too many of them probably. And so that may be fun to just create some kind of creative photo shoots related to or around products that aren't exactly related to photography, such as Olipop or even like foods or anything like product photography, I guess is what it's called, but I love product photography with models. So maybe even some jewelry brands. I'll have to think on that more. But okay, those were my goals related to expanding my social media presence and brand partnerships. Number 4 is to improve organizational systems and productivity. One of my flaws is I am very unorganized. And I have gotten a lot better, but I just need to work on it. So, here are some things I'm gonna do to improve my organization. I'm gonna stay on top of my monthly expenses. So, I'm gonna keep track of my spending because I realized I was really bad at this last year. I signed up for so many random subscriptions, like business subscriptions, but most of them I had the intention of canceling before the free trial ended. But as I was going back through some of my expenses, I realized I never canceled these. And I also realized that I've been paying for 2 separate memberships of Photoshop when like I don't even know why. So I'm just like wasting money and I need to stay more on top of that. Next is to respond to client messages promptly. So my goal is to respond to my clients within like 12 hours, not any later than that, because the speed that you respond to your inquiries and your client questions makes a huge impact on the client experience overall, and also whether or not you book that client, because someone is going to be more likely to book someone who responds to them faster. And I have had that happen to me before where I'll respond to someone even like one day later, like 24 hours, and they'll say, sorry, we already booked with someone else. So I'm going to stay more on top of this. My next way to stay organized is to upload photos to my hard drive immediately after a session. I'm really bad about this. Luckily, I've never had anything like bad happen from it, but just to stay more organized, I want to get better at creating more of a system. And this goes back to just creating healthy habits, creating those habits of backing up my photos right away after a session. And then that just makes it easier to go and edit them, and I'll probably get my galleries delivered sooner if I make that first step to do that. And then lastly is to just keep my workspace tidy, to just clean up after myself. I have been a lot better at this, but it just makes a really big difference when the space you're working in is clean and tidy and you feel good and there's no distractions. Okay, number 5, improve education and content quality. So, what did I mean by this? I meant to work on my own personal education. So, before I said that I want to be an educator to other photographers, but I also want to work on my own personal education because I think it's so important to continue to grow and learn new things. And I just graduated from college, so I'm just doing like online courses relating to specifically what I want to learn. And so on here, one of my littler goals to complete this bigger goal is to complete my online courses, which I have probably way too many of these going right now, but I prioritize education so highly and I will spend so much money on it. But let me just share with you some of the online courses that I'm in right now because I really do love all of the ones that I'm taking right now. So, first, I'm in the Six Figure Business Map, and this is by Jai Long. Jai is incredibly talented and just so smart and good with business, and he's really inspirational. So, honestly, I would recommend listening to his podcast, Make Your Break by Jai Long, because he's just so good at motivating and just helping you with your business. So, I'm in his six figure business map and I love it. And next is full time filmmaker. I took this course, I started it probably 2 years ago, 2 years ago, because I thought I wanted to be a videographer. I wanted to learn the videographer side because it's so different from photography. I don't know why, but I really struggle with video and like making my videos look aesthetic. So just to learn more of that because that will be really helpful with becoming more of a content creator because that has to do a lot with videos like Reels and TikToks. The next one I'm in is Find Your Influence, and this one is Cassidy Lynn's course. And I haven't gotten too far into it, but I do really like it so far. The next one is Rep It, and this is about creating a senior model team, which this has been super helpful. I took this one to help me figure out how to start a senior model team. And this is hosted by Jen Renpro, like JenRenPro. That's her name on social media. And she's amazing. I hope to actually have her on this podcast to talk about her senior model team because she has helped me a lot. And then the last one I'm in is One Peak Creative. And this is about social media. This is like a strategy growth for social media course. And I really like this course. I've taken a few like smaller courses from the One Peak Creative. And if you want to grow your social media and just learn the strategies behind marketing and creating good content, then I would recommend checking them out. So, those are the courses that I'm going to be learning from and working on next year. And then my next little task to improve my content is to just improve the quality of my videos and creations. So, to really focus more on quality than content and creating work that I'm proud of. And those are all for my business goals. Now we're going to get into some personal goals. Okay, goal number 1, prioritize health and wellness. I think this is really going to help me with my mood swings, and it's really a lot about creating those healthy habits. So, some things I'm going to do to prioritize my health are going to be to wake up at 6 a.m. daily. And this is actually a really, I wouldn't say easy, but it's a pretty achievable goal for me because I've always been a morning person. I am most productive in the morning, which is funny because I'm actually recording this podcast episode at 9:30 p.m. But I usually need to get all of my important tasks done in the morning because as the day goes on, I feel myself getting less productive and I love to just spend my evenings relaxing. So, when setting goals, I think it's also important to realize what kind of person you are and when you're most productive, and then plan your schedule around then. So, for me, I'm a morning person, so most of the things I do are going to be in the morning. My next goal is to get 8 hours of sleep because, of course, when you wake up early, you have to go to bed early as well. And getting good sleep makes a huge difference on the way you feel and the amount of things you can get done. I feel like there are some people who can literally just run off of 3 hours of sleep, but I am not one of those people. I need sleep. I could sleep forever. Okay, next is to just eat less sugar. I just love my sweets. I'm such a sweet tooth. So, I'm going to try and not do that because also it like affects my teeth and I want to have nice teeth. Okay. Next is to go outside for 30 minutes daily. This is really hard to do in the wintertime because I don't love to just sit outside in the cold, but this is gonna be, like, prioritizing walks, and in the summertime, I love to eat my lunch outside or even breakfast sometimes because I have a little table in my backyard, so when I just go and sit outside and soak in the sunshine, it just makes me feel so much better, so I'm gonna try and get outside more. I also feel like it clears up my acne, which I've had a really bad acne, and I haven't been out in the sun much, so, yeah, I'm just gonna prioritize some outside time. Okay, and then next is to work out for 10 minutes daily. I have really struggled to create a consistent workout routine because I'm super out of shape and I get tired really fast. And what I've found is working out for only 10 minutes a day is so attainable. And I feel like it goes to show that it doesn't matter as much the amount that you do. Like, if I was working out for an hour, but instead the consistency. So I'm prioritizing little amounts, but staying consistent. And this is going to help me to be able to do it because when I'm feeling unmotivated, I can convince myself to just do it for 10 minutes, like take 10 minutes out of my day to do a little workout, and then that will make me feel better, and I will be 1% better than I was yesterday. So, this is just me trying to create healthy habits and improve slowly. And one thing I learned with creating any habit, I want to say it's 60 days. I can't remember the exact amount, but I think you have to do any habit that you want to create, you have to do it for 60 days in a row before it actually becomes a habit. And so, for waking up early and doing a 10-minute workout, I do not give myself weekends off. I have to do this every day, and eventually it will become easier and it will become more of my routine. Okay, so my next personal goal is to reduce screen time and build better routines. So, routines are also just like healthy habits, but the importance of having a good routine is because it reduces decision fatigue. When you create like a morning routine or a nighttime routine, you automatically know what you're going to be doing. And so you don't have to decide because then that causes time that you're wasting deciding what you want to do. So if you just can create routines, you'll automatically be more productive. So for this, I want to create a nighttime routine. And in my nighttime routine, I want to have no phone an hour before bed, wash my face, brush my teeth, floss, journal. I want to start journaling more, which I talked about writing out your ESPs, efficiency, wait, effort, not efficiency. Effort, success, progress. So at the end of the day, just writing out the things that you put effort in, the things that you succeeded at, and the things that you put progress into. And this is just to focus on having a positive mindset and highlighting your achievements more than your failures. So I hope to journal more about that in the evenings and then also to write out next day's to do list or tasks because there's also a quote that's like, having a good day starts the night before, something like that. And so it's really important if you just wake up in the morning already knowing what you're going to do that day. So that's my nightly routine. And then I also just want to keep my phone screen time below 3 hours a day because right now I just got my weekly screen time and it's at like 6 hours a day. And I have noticed the effect on my productivity because I have not been getting a lot done. And so I just hope to reduce my screen time. And this will help me for when I am on my phone, I'll be more intentional about it because a lot of that screen time is really just scrolling aimlessly on social media. And I'm already on social media enough for my job. So I don't want to have to just be on it for my job and then also on it all day because I have noticed an impact on my mental health doing that. So reducing my screen time. Next, we're going to talk about personal growth and relaxation. So, one of my goals is to read 30 books, which I cannot believe I got so into reading in 2024. I read 16 books, which is crazy for me because I've never been a reader. And those are like actually reading it. If you count the audiobooks, I listened to 3 audiobooks, which I never know. Like, do you count your audiobooks with your reading books? Because I feel like that's a little bit of cheating, but some people do. So I don't know. I read almost 20 books this year, so I'm proud of myself. But I hope to read 30 books next year. And I like to read a mixture of business books and then just like relaxation books like romance, adventure, fantasy. And I usually will read the books that are just for relaxation before I go to sleep. I like to read like 30 minutes before I go to bed. And then the business books, I like to read those. Honestly, like before I start my day, if I read for just 10 minutes a day about some kind of business strategy, it helps me feel more productive and get more done. Okay, next on my goals is to journal 4 times weekly, which I already talked about journaling, and then to take one full day off weekly. I hope I can do this. I've never like prioritized taking a day off, which is crazy because I think if I separate more of my work life and personal life, I'll probably be healthier. Like, I'll probably have better mental health. So, because even when I would take days off, I was still worried about my business. Like, even if I have a day off, I'm still sometimes answering clients or at least worrying about clients or worrying about photo shoots. So, I want to actually pick a day to have off. And then I think if I make this clear to my clients that, like, I don't work Sundays, then that will make me feel better about not answering them. Okay, and then next is to take a dance class and join a volleyball team. These are two things that I love. I'm not a dancer, I'm so uncoordinated, but I would love to get into dancing and to join a volleyball team because I miss volleyball so much. I played volleyball when I was in high school. I played volleyball for actually like 10 years and I just really miss it. So that's something I want to do more of, and I think it'll bring me happiness. And the very last one on my personal goals for 2025 is to go to Belize, which I'm really excited for this. My husband and I are planning this trip, and it's actually like our honeymoon because we got married in 2022, but we never took a honeymoon because money was hard for us at that time. So we decided that we were going to save for a year and go on a honeymoon in a year, but we didn't have money in a year still, so we never actually took a honeymoon. And I think we can finally do it next year. So I'm really excited for that and to plan that trip. Okay, well, those are my goals and to dos for 2025. I hope that you were able to find some kind of inspiration for this and help you to set your goals. And so now you can go and write out your goals and comment your goals. Tell me what you hope to achieve in 2025. And I can also hold you accountable. So, yeah, reach out to me if you have any questions, like always. And thank you so much for being here. I will see you in 2025.